Here are the top stories for today, July 30, 2019. The government vows to draw the line against militant groups and communist fronts who continue to deceive the people. The person behind the Ang Totoong Narcolist video surrenders over charges of cyber libel. The Labor Department urges displaced workers of lotto outlets to avail of assistance. And the priest in Dapitan teaches the Word of God by skydiving.
Good day, I'm Rom Dulfo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Our top story, the government's anti-insurgency task force lambasted anew militant organizations, saying the government will set the limit if the people are fed up with communist deceptions. More on this from Miguel Hill.
Militant groups who are pretending to be human rights defenders have already done so much disservice to the country, AFP Deputy Chief of Staff for Civil Military Operations Major General Antonio Parlade Jr. said on Monday. Parlade scored the National Union of People's Lawyers for its continued silence on the series of killings in Ayungon, Negros Oriental, which are mostly admitted by the CPP-NPA, and reminded Dapitan General Secretary Cristina Palabay and those who filed the petition for writ of amparo against government officials that they should know the bounds of their freedom. He said it is time to let go and allow progress and genuine peace in our nation. In Negros Oriental, 21 people have already been killed in a span of 9 days, mostly admitted by the NPA, but Dapitan Secretary General Cristina Palabay and NUPL officials are mum about it, except for the death of Attorney Anthony Trinidad, where they put the blame on the government because the NPAs did not admit to it. Parlade said the lack of reaction from so-called human rights defenders is in sharp contrast to the former U.S. Ambassador John Maisto's pronouncement that if they are really interested in human rights, they're going to be interested in violations of human rights from whatever sources it is coming from. He urged that militant groups to heed the call of the church leaders and stop their own colleagues in the CPP-NPA from killing more people. He also encouraged them to listen to the stories of the indigenous peoples who recently came back from the United States, as they are the real victims. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
Residents from 5 rural barangays in Turil District in Davao City have renounced their support for the New People's Army. Around 200 participants, including former rebels and supporters, gave their commitment in a peace-building seminar organized by Philippine Army's 3rd Infantry Battalion, line government agencies, the city government, and other partners. They held a peace rally and declared the CPP-NPA-NDF as persona non grata as they shared their experiences in the CPP-NPA-NDF. A peace pact called Pakang was also conducted, which signifies the cutting of ties with the communist movement. During the seminar, 3rd IB Commanding Officer Lieutenant Colonel Oscar Partuza thanked Mayor Sara Duterte for establishing the Peace 911, the city's peace and development arm. Partuza assured that the military will continue to support initiatives for peace and economic growth in their areas. The Department of Labor and Employment plans to prepare a new version of the Security of Tenure Bill before next week's LEDAC, or Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council meeting. This after President Duterte has instructed them to revisit the measure. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III on Monday said the new version of the bill will keep the balance between the security of tenure and the viability of employers. Bello shared that President Duterte was surprised over the negative reactions on his decision to veto the Security of Tenure bill because he thought that this was in line with his commitment to secure the tenure of workers. Bello said they will visit the entire provision and come up with a clearer and more focused provision to provide security of tenure to our workers. The man behind a series of videos called Ang Totoong Narco List surrendered anew to the police over charges of cyber libel. Peter Joman Advincula, alias Bikoy, surrendered on Monday night at the CIDG office in Camp Crame. PNP Chief General Oscar Albayalde said Advincula will be detained in Camp Crame until he posted bail worth 10,000 pesos. Advincula has standing warrants of arrest for cyber libel filed by businessman Zoldico, the owner of the posh Missibis Bay Resort, who he tagged as involved in illegal drugs trade. He also tagged Ko as among the big-time operators of a drug den inside the said resort. Earlier, CIDG filed charges of sedition, inciting to sedition, cyber libel, estafa, harboring a criminal, and obstruction of justice against 35 individuals over the revelations made by Advincula. Senator Bongo said he is open to conducting a Senate probe into the alleged anomalies in the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, or PCSO, and Philippine Health Insurance Corporation. This after President Duterte on Friday night ordered the suspension of PCSO gaming operations due to massive corruption, while Senator Panfilo Lacson has been claiming in interviews that DOH Secretary Francisco Duque III has conflict of interest in some PhilHealth transactions. Go said the interest of the Filipino people should be put above everything else, and those who committed corruption should be held accountable. He said he remains firm and is willing to set aside friendships as what the president always advises him to do. He said those liable should be held accountable even if they are colleagues in government. He, however, said that he has no reasons to prejudge Health Secretary Duque, as he still trusts Duque until it's proven sufficiently that there are pieces of evidence against him. The senator also said that while gaming outlets have been closed, PCSO remains open for medical financial assistance. He adds the president also encouraged him to look into corruption issues not only with PCSO or DOH but with other government agencies. Angat Dam's water level improves after days of continuous rain, and Manila lifts last week's ban on e-tricycles. More on this and other news around the metro from Bench Bondo.
DILG Secretary Eduardo Anew has ordered all senior interior officials to monitor the mayors of Metro Manila as they initiate clearing operations in their areas. City mayors were given 60 days to clear out their roads of obstacles to ease traffic. The DILG will in turn coordinate with the PNP, MMDA, DPWH, and the Department of Transportation to provide assistance to LGUs. Meanwhile, PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde led this morning the demolition of the Police Community Precinct 6 in West Crame. The move is part of the clearing operations meant to remove obstacles along sidewalks as ordered by President Duterte. Albayalde said the PNP hopes to lead by example in efforts to solve Metro Manila's traffic problem. In other news, electric tricycles will be allowed on the streets of Manila again after Mayor Isko Moreno lifted the ban enforced for less than a week. This after a new ordinance was issued to regulate the operation of e-trikes. Moreno told e-tricycle drivers to organize themselves, follow traffic rules, avoid major thoroughfares, register franchises, and pay taxes. E-trikes were banned last week after the MMDA clarified that e-bikes and not e-trikes, as previously announced, are classified as toys by the government. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
Still to come, police closed down more lotto and small-town lottery outlets in Luzon and Mindanao. The Labor Department urges displaced workers of lotto outlets to avail of assistance. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
That is an effect of the policy of the president to destroy the drug apparatus, meaning the funnel or funnels where drugs would go through to be able to sell in the market in the Philippines. Number two, we have had more than 1.4 million drug dependents surrender to authority to be rehabilitated. Number three, based on the recent surveys in the Philippines, 66% of adult Filipinos believe that their streets are safer, the streets are safer against drugs and from drug pushers and drug users. Yes, they want to protect the human rights. Of course, we are people, loving people. And what the president is merely saying, especially what he mentioned in 2018, that you care about human rights. The president cares about human lives. You must also protect the rights of those people who are being victimized by drug pushers and by drug lords.
Police have shut down more lotto and small-town lottery outlets in parts of Luzon and Mindanao. More on these from Janice Cave.
The closure of PCSO game outlets in the province is still ongoing. In Pangasinan, some 130 lotto outlets, 32 small-town lottery outlets, and 1 STL drawing center all over the province are closed down following the directive of President Rodrigo Duterte. Pangasinan Police on Saturday closed all entities with franchises from the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office. In Baguio City, no less than PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde led the closure of some gaming outlets over the weekend. All the 93 Lotto, STL, Kino, and other outlets sanctioned by the PCSO in the Cordillera region have been closed down, and other possible illegal gambling activities are being monitored. In Soxargen, all Lotto, STL, and Kino gaming outlets in the region complied with the closure order. A total of 3,311 gaming outlets have ceased their operations over the weekend, as most of the operators voluntarily terminated their operations. In Bulacan, a total of 320 PCSO gaming outlets are also shut down since Saturday. Bulacan PNP is also conducting random checks and inspections to different PCSO outlets to make sure that they have completely ceased their operations. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
A Catholic prelate on Monday supported the order of President Duterte to close down all PCSO games due to massive corruption. Bishop Roberto Santos, head of the CBCP Episcopal Commission on Migrants and Itinerant People, said the president's decision was inspiring and encouraging. He said gambling is a vice that will only lead to crime and corruption, and stopping it is a good thing for morality. Santos says he is praying and hoping that the president will stand firm with his decision to stop gambling, and that the church is ready to help those who are in need, especially with the stoppage of Lotto. The Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, or PCSO, which is mandated to provide funds to aid less fortunate Filipinos, is financed partly by Lotto and other PCSO games. Philippine National Police on Monday said it is on the lookout against a looming resurgence of the illegal numbers game wetting following the closure of all gaming activities of the PCSO. PNP Chief General Oscar Albayalde said there is a possibility that illegal numbers game, particularly wetting, will be back. Albayalde said that they already received intelligence reports of resumption of wetting operations in at least 2 provinces in Central Luzon on Saturday, a day after President Duterte ordered the suspension of all games licensed by PCSO. He said the PNP is yet to arrest anyone involved in the illegal numbers game, but maintains he ordered police commanders to continue operations against it. He also warned all police commanders to initiate moves to ensure that wetting would not thrive while PCSO games are suspended. All workers who will be displaced due to the closure of all gaming activities of PCSO are advised to avail of unemployment aid. Labor Assistant Secretary Benjo Benavides said affected workers who are members of the SSS could apply for unemployment insurance under Republic Act 11199 or the Social Security Act of 2019. Under the Social Security Reform Act, workers who were involuntarily displaced by reason of economic causes can avail of involuntary separation benefits that could help them while looking for another source of income. Benavides said they are coordinating with the SSS to hasten the processing of the benefit for the affected workers. To avail of the benefit, members should not be more than 60 years of age and has paid at least 36 months of contributions, 12 months of which should be within the 18-month period prior to the involuntary unemployment or separation. The Philippines aims to increase its food exports as the country will participate in the China International Import Expo in November. 50 Filipino companies will exhibit their products in China's largest buying event, which will include agricultural products, processed food, snacks, and other innovative food products. According to the Department of Trade and Industry, the bulk of the sales last year was made up of agricultural products such as banana, avocado, and orange. Last year, the total sales of Philippine booths amounted to $124 million. Some of the companies that participated last year already expanded in the Chinese market. The second China International Import Expo will take place in the National Exhibition and Convention Center in Shanghai from November 5 to 10 this year. Up next, relief goods and other aid pour in for residents affected by the earthquakes in Batanes. A priest in Dapitan teaches the Word of God by skydiving. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Hey you! Sorry you couldn't make it to the Philippines, but it's okay. We haven't been up to much. There's just no escaping the heat. All we do is take showers. We're always on the move, yet we keep getting lost. We can't wait for the day to end, so we can just stay in at night. I'm kidding! We're having a blast. We haven't stopped eating and partying all day. Plus, we've made a bunch of friends. The only thing that would make it better is if you were here too.
Relief goods, health kits, and other facilities keep pouring in Batanes as the Good Samaritans continue to bring aid to some 3,000 earthquake-affected residents. At least 1,500 gallons of mineral water and 3,000 packs of relief goods were distributed to the affected families. Medical teams also arrived and gave health kits to villagers. Police and marine soldiers also helped in the repacking and distribution of relief goods shortly after the C-295 aircraft from the Philippine Air Force and a rescue helicopter landed at the rail airstrip. Presidential Advisor for Northern Luzon, Secretary Raul Lambino, is among the quick responders to the needs of families affected by the earthquake. In our foreign news, police were searching on Monday for a suspected accomplice of the gunman who killed 3 people in a mass shooting at a food festival in San Francisco, California last Sunday. The Gilroy Police Department confirmed that 2 children were among those shot dead during the Gilroy Garlic Festival. The gunman who died at the scene had been identified as Santino William Ligan, a 19-year-old resident. At least 12 people were wounded and were taken to multiple hospitals. The police and the entire community expressed sympathy to the victims at the festival. A priest in Dapitan has added an extreme element to his teaching of the gospel by skydiving before parishioners. He said this stunt gives devotees a deeper understanding of the Word of God and a way to change themselves. Joyce Cudis with the story.
A priest in Dapitan, Zamboanga del Norte has a scary way of propagating the gospel through skydiving. Father Mario Beltran Batangan of the St. Therese of the Child Jesus Parish says jumping at a height of 10,000 feet above sea level is like moving toward another dimension, all while having trust and faith. He said that while it's always terrifying every time he jumps out of a flying plane, he feels serenity and peace as he floats. He likens the feeling of safety as he dives down to being in the hands of God. Patangan is from nearby Dipolog City and grandnephew of the late Father Nicasio Yebes Patangan, the first Filipino diocesan priest from Mindanao. Since 2008, Patangan has already accumulated 18 jumps under his wings. Patangan teaches that sometimes people have to get out of their comfort zones to broaden and deepen their understanding of life. He also likened his views to politics as, in the country, change cannot happen when we continue to allow bribery and ignore corruption. He also observed that people have the tendency to justify their own mistakes, which prevents them from growing up as a people. The priest said to be human is to struggle to do good because it is always easy to do bad, and that is exactly what he urged his parishioners to do. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Joyce Cudis.
Angat Dam's water level has increased by over 1 meter following days of continuous rains. As of this morning, Angat's water elevation was at 164.39 meters. However, it is still at the critical level and below the 180 meters minimum operating level. 7 more dams in Luzon, including La Mesa Dam in Quezon City, also showed higher water levels. Meanwhile, in our weather update, monsoon rains will be experienced over Pangasinan, Zambales, and Bataan due to southwest monsoon. Residents of these areas, especially of areas identified to be at high risk of flooding and landslides, are advised to monitor for possible rainfall warnings and advisories, take precautionary measures, and coordinate with their local government and disaster risk reduction and management offices. Meanwhile, cloudy skies with light to moderate rains and thunderstorms will still prevail over Metro Manila, rest of the Ilocos region, rest of Central Luzon, and the provinces of Benguet, Cavite, Batangas, Mindoro, and Palawan. Let's check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's biggest stories.
The government vows to draw the line against militant groups and communist fronts who continue to deceive the people. The person behind the Ang Totoong Narcolist video surrenders over charges of cyber libel. The Labor Department urges displaced workers of lotto outlets to avail of assistance. And the priest in Dapitan teaches the Word of God by skydiving.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. Let's check out these and other stories. Check the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags on all our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Rom Dulfo. Good day.